lovely people. I'm Shaq and welcome. Today I'm going to work on laminating up some cardboard, but instead of laminating it the way that I've been doing using basically a PVA glue or wood glue, I am going to mix up a flour and water glue that is heated on the stove. I've never done the heated on the stove version, and I will link the video that kind of gives you that formula down in the description, just in case you want to try it out. But that is a big experiment for me because if it works, if it turns out to be as solid as the claims, I'm going to use it to make the tops of some work areas and cabinet areas. So let's go and cook up some glue. Okay, you might be able to hear the fire burning because we are on the wood stove. I have 5 parts of water to 1 part flour, and we're just supposed to kind of occasionally stir and heat it until it gets thicker or glue-like in texture. So yeah, that's going to take a minute. Well, I haven't actually been stirring for that long. I decided to shut off the video, but we are already getting there. And I looked back at my instructions and it does say bring it just to a boil, like, you know, that simmer state, I guess. I don't think I don't remember him boiling it for very long. So hopefully I'm doing it right. But we are definitely getting more viscosity in there. I can really feel the resistance when stirring. Also has me sitting here, you know, I'm cooking on the wood stove because, well, that's how we cook practically all winter and a good lot of the rest of the year too. This year, I'm not sure when we stopped. It was kind of a natural, it's too warm out to have a fire. And, ooh, that's feeling really thick. Much more. Wow, this just does not want to focus when I get in close. And the fire is really hot because we're broke. Oh yeah, there's the bubbles. With having to make payments on the pottery business, I think that's it. Ooh. Excuse me. It got really hot there really fast, which happens when you're using really dry wood. And we're, like I said, broke, so we've been using pallet wood that we have been finding for free. But that is what it looks like. Now it's going to get thicker as it cools. And it's recommended that you put a drop of clove oil in for like a preservative. And so I'm going to do that. Can't do it one-handed though. And then I'm going to go in and we'll start, let's see, I'm going to put this in a bag, I think, for dispensing. Get that all set up, and I'll see you back at the desk with the cardboard. So I've got all the cardboard prepped, and apparently I am waiting on the glue to cool down, which takes the longest. It's recommended that the corrugation, which is running this way on this one, go the other direction and on the next layer. So I'm also doing this differently than I did on the cardboard dollhouse. So this will be centered right there. And I'm trying to make as efficient a use of the cardboard that I have as possible. So we're going to stack it up. And the recommendation was 5 layers of corrugated to create a plywood-like piece of board or construction material. And this guy was making furniture out of it. So I have been doing the floors on the cardboard dollhouse with 3 layers. So I'm going to go ahead and do 5 layers. We're going to use this for the next floor on the dollhouse. It'll be the top floor. So, yeah, it'll be a good experiment for finding out just how rigid it is, how level it stays, because our top floor right now has a bit of a sag to it. I'm not sure if the one down below it does as well, but we've got a little bit of a sag going on. Here, I'm going to switch this around. So right where she's sitting, there's a little bit of a dip, and it's kind of interesting because it's right with the wall below it. So you would think it would, but maybe my wall was a little short, or maybe there was a dip in the cardboard when I created it. That's a possibility, that it didn't dry flat, that maybe it had a curve to it. And I think that floor down there has also got a little bit of a curve to it. So we're going to see if 5 layers takes that curve out. It might actually be dipping more right there where they're sitting. You know, I could make this easier to see by removing the dolls. Does that make it a little easier? Kind of see that curve. Anyway, so that's, I'm hoping for something that doesn't have a dip in it. And since we're going to be supporting this along the back edge and the sides, it shouldn't matter that the middle of the room is sagging a little bit, but that might be why, because if the lower floor is sagging, then the wall would be lower than the outside edges, and that might explain a little bit of the sag. Anyway, I think we're going to do the outside perimeter and get that rigid piece for the top made. Check it to see if it bows. Also, did I mention yet that I'm supposed to be able to cut this with like a circular saw or a jigsaw? So I didn't pre-cut the pieces like I did when I made the floors on the cardboard dollhouse. They're just they're bigger than what I need, and approximately in the right size range to be efficient use of cardboard, sort of. I actually don't think it's going to be efficient use of cardboard, not like I was doing before, but it might be easier. So that would be a bonus. So we're going to go check our glue and see if it's cooled down enough. Here's my bag of glue. It is still just barely warm. But I wanted to say that I think I forgot to mention that you need to stir it, occasionally, like while it's cooling, so you don't get lumps appearing. And I was using a whisk, and of course everything in here is food grade, so you don't have to worry about that as far as the utensils. But I mean, you are making a glue, so don't leave your pan or whisk or whatever you use to make the glue to sit in the glue. So I don't know how smart this is, but I plan on cutting this corner and then spreading the glue, like that's the dispenser right there. And then somehow, I kind of want to plan that before I've gone and done it, because I really don't want to find myself with a glue dispenser dispensing when I don't want it. Paper clip maybe, fold it and paper clip it afterwards. That might work. I also took the time to make some soup while I was waiting on that to cool. And I ran out to the garage, believe it or not, to try and find these, which were in here. Let's see. Paper clip. All right. We've got our single layer. I think I'm going to push that way. Still haven't gotten any of the shelves made. Don't have propane for burning the boards before they're assembled. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that and why it hasn't happened. Which means I'm still kind of, that's a really big dispenser. I'm going to regret that. But there we are. I might end up having to transfer it to another bag. Okay, so the other Yeah, we're gonna be smart about the tie. No flopping into the glue. Got that? Okay. Yeah. Oh, you could easily end up with this all over where you don't want it. I'd recommend a much smaller hole. Always make it smaller than you think you need, because you can always enlarge it. You can't shrink it. Paper towels, something like that. So in dealing with, I don't know what's going on in how the government's choices affect the economy, we are approaching the 1-year anniversary of Mudwood Cottage. And that means we're supposed to only have 1 more year after that in payments. So, and that and the rent that we had to pay for the studio, which, you know, it was more than it was supposed to be. Anyway, everything just turned out to be more than it was supposed to be. So here we are dealing, right? I kind of feel like I'm getting an even coating, sort of, that everything's out of reach. Here. Ideally, I think you would go over your edges. I think that would be the ideal thing to do. If I was on a workbench or outside, I would definitely do that. Outside on a workbench or just on sawhorses. That would be a huge advantage. So I'm just trying to make sure that I got every area that's going to important to the size, I guess, covered. And I didn't really prepare for that. A plate would have been nice. So things have not gone well because of the situation with the government and everybody being short on cash. So if you've got some to support us, that would be really, really super appreciated. We obviously are struggling because our summer was not what it was supposed to be. And I expect that our winter is going to be much like it was last year. Okay, corrugation is going this way on the bottom one and this way on the next layer. Oh, almost in the room. I did not take that off. I got all the tape off. I forgot to remove things like the extra layer of cardboard. Well, that didn't work. There's a sack that I keep burnables in under the desk. Okay. So I remember right with I assume this is going to be similar to the other glue in that I need to get it all put together and weight on it. Okay. I guess I could skip to the next part. Okay, we've got all 5 layers glued together, and I've got the drawers that are supposed to be up on the shelves that haven't been built, using them as weight to hold it down because the wine boxes are pretty heavy. But I didn't want to run upstairs for the Oxford English Dictionary. Anyway, whatever you've got to hand to weigh it down, rocks if that's all you've got, although those might make dents that you don't want. It so far looks about the same process as what I did before, with the PVA glue. I have to wait 24 hours to see, how it's turned out, because you got to give it setup time. I'm assuming that in 24 hours it'll be dry. Got my fingers crossed because I need to get back to work on clay stuff, so I need my desk back. Either that or I'm gonna have to go find someplace else to work, which I don't think that'll go over. Anyway, I've got Yule things to make and I need to get on with that. So what I am going to do is probably come back with the next step in the process. I'll probably try and get it cut if it's actually dry. If it's not actually dry, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Maybe have to go find someplace else for it to sit. I don't know. That might be a good solution. There might be a space upstairs where I could leave it to dry if it's not dry tomorrow around noon. I think that's as late as I can go on that. The glue does need to be refrigerated. So I didn't use all of it. There's still actually quite a bit in there, not enough. I did use a lot of it, of the batch that I made. So I will need to find me some kind of bowl container that I can sit in the fridge, so that if it does develop a leak, it doesn't go anywhere. And I hope you have a delightful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.